Namaskar. There are no guarantees in life except one, and it is universal. It is the same for all of us, and that is death. So today I'm going to take you on a deep dive to just go straight into the heart of that and look at it, because this is actually the source of all other types of anxieties and fears, etc. They all kind of boil down to fear of death. So when we can become free of that, it just frees up incredible amount of psychological energy, and helps us to live our life more fully and in a more mature and deep way. So I find actually death kind of exciting. It is such an opportunity. Why? Now, most of us live our lives extremely identified with this physical body. And if I'm thinking that this is me, then of course, when I see death, who am I? What happens? If this form is gone, I'm gone. And okay, humanity's developed all kinds of, theories about what happens with life after death. Very interesting subject to explore. Nobody's actually been able to tell us what exactly happens. But there are records now, more and more, of near-death experiences. And there's a remarkable cross-cultural kind of similarity between these types of experiences. And one common characteristic of it is the presence of a beautiful, soothing, divine light, and this desire to go into that light, to merge into it. And, when they're called back, there's a sense of loss, because there's such a great sense of unity and love and acceptance coming from within that presence, that kind of blissful and effulgent light. Well, this is quite similar to what I'm training my mind to do every single time I sit down to meditate. And you can learn to do it too. When I meditate, what am I doing? It's like I have to, in order to meditate successfully, I'm trying to isolate my sense of self in its most pure, its most eternal aspect. I'm trying to tune into that. It's a purely subjective kind of training of the mind to get into the most subjective stance, where I can feel my existence in its purest sense, even as like knowing that I exist. This is very subtle to describe, but it requires being able to detach your mind from physical identification, from thinking that you are this body. So we have special steps in meditation to do that. This is more precise when you get the individual training in meditation. But even in the basic course that you can learn online for free, even in that, you have this idea of like, try to feel something more, Start out the meditation by expanding, by getting a sense of limitlessness, of space around you. Feel something greater than just this usual arena of your perception of reality, which is full of I do, and, thinking about past and plans and me. And that kind of usually is like the full mental arena. The full space of our mind is filled with that. Not much space for awareness of anything else. When we allow ourselves to kind of withdraw from that, disassociate from it, allow ourselves to feel there is something greater that contains that sense of self. Even a visualization of imagining space all around us, even just tuning into the sky, like look up and feel the sky containing you. It's always there. And that sense of bigness helps you to go beyond the smallness of your usual thinking. And then the next steps are to really refine and focus the mind to feel the sense of I feeling in its purest aspect, in its purest form, and to feel it that it is a state of unconditional, limitless, eternal love. and that love has no form, it's beyond form, it's beyond concept, it's beyond mind. It is this, it's the space that contains us. And it's alive. And it's full of love. And so when we perceive that presence as the fundamental part of our identity that's unlimited, this is yoga, this is to feel that when we are able to narrow it down, we're able to remove all the illusions, external identifications, and just go inside and go to that deepest point, that source of consciousness. We're identifying then a part of ourself that's pure, that's like a pure drop of water. And the supreme consciousness is like an endless ocean. Once that drop of water enters in contact with the ocean, you can't find drop of water, you find only ocean. So the same thing, when we're able to go to that most refined, most subtle part of just pure I feeling, that pure I feeling is the I feeling of not just our limited self. It is the I feeling that is universal. It is the unlimited I feeling. It is the divine. You could call this as God consciousness. That's the expanded state of divine consciousness, divine union. So what's death? Death, whether or not, you've been practicing meditation, might not have had any spectacular experiences of really being able to go totally beyond the sense of physical identity and experience that oneness. But, you're trying. But when death happens, your mind separates from the body. You're no longer being held down by the heaviness of that physical identification. If your mind has been regularly training to go into that divine light, to know that that's your real identity, to be comfortable with it, to be full of longing and love for it, there's no fear there. Then that moment becomes a portal. It becomes, a way to go straight into that supreme experience that you've been longing for. The divine union beyond any other type of limited union that you can have with anyone else, is that ultimate feeling of immersion, of coming home again, like the near-death experiences report. And when we have the privilege to be beside a loved one, we can help them to make that journey. We can remind them, we can't do it for them. That's something, only you can walk that road yourself. But we can try to create the right atmosphere. And I just got back from Italy, where I had such a powerful experience of this. There's a sister, one of my spiritual sisters that I taught meditation to and have been guiding for more than 25 years. She was quite young when she learned. Now she was just 44, young. But she was in her early 20s, when we first met. Really kind of little hippie. And we've been through a lot together. I hadn't talked to her in the past couple of years much, but I knew that she was sick with cancer. And I'd had a dream just like 2 months ago. I had a dream in which I'd come to visit her. She was in a hospital, some kind of intensive care unit, and it was hard to even recognize that it was a human being. It just was. She looked like literally like a skeleton. Extremely thin bones, almost like an ET, just barely any life there, and just kind of looking towards me. And I sat down next to her and I said, "I'm here, I'm with you." And I woke from that dreaming kind of with the conviction, with the kind of knowing that I was going to be there for her when she died. But it's a little awkward. I didn't want to call her up and be like, "Hey, are you about to die? Because I can come. I'd love to be there with you. I don't want you to be alone with that. I'd like to meet you before that happens." I didn't want to say that because maybe she's on a healing pathway and I don't want to demoralize her. Maybe she's going to get better. And indeed, she seemed quite positive. She was doing a lot of things. She knew Ayurveda. She knew many things. So I was kind of confident she's going to make it through this or whatever. She's going to do her best. But I had also this understanding. And, I told her anyway, I had on my schedule, I would be in Italy for a conference, for a retreat, and that I would go and visit her after that. We just talked to her last week and, kind of fixed the time and the date. And she was like, yeah, there's many things I want to talk to you, but not on the phone. And I was looking forward to it. And then I get a call Sunday night. I'm supposed to see her on Wednesday, that she's already in the hospital. She's been there already more than a day, and they don't know if she's going to make it through the night. So I couldn't get through to the family. I didn't know exactly where she was, but I made an educated guess which hospital she'd be in. Next morning, went straight there. First train I could take. Had a friend take me there. We found her. And I found out from the doctor, because he went to go see if they would agree that I could come in. She was already sedated, can't talk anymore. But he said, yeah, she was asking for you. And the family knows that, so you come. And they told me that when she re-entered the hospital and knew she asked the doctor, is this it? Is this the end? She was quite upset, because she was like, well, how many days do I have? And she was angry with him because she wanted to see Didi. So I felt I was in the right place at the right moment at the right time. And I felt just like just like an instrument. Like I felt her strong desire for that spiritual guidance brought me there. It wasn't anything to do with me. It was really just her desire for that supreme connection with God at this really important moment. And so I sat down, I gave her namaskars. I came in, and her eyes fluttered. It was, she opened her eyes a bit. It was the only time that she opened her eyes. And then I started to sing. I asked the family permission, can I sing? And I began to sing Bhavanam Kevalam, the mantra that, she's been singing her whole life since she began this path. And her mouth began to move like this, like she was singing along. And I sang songs written by our master, and I just sang. I sat there and just very quietly, very gently, I sang. I sang for almost 6 hours, I think. I was there from the morning until it was 5 p.m. And at one point I'd requested to the family if they wouldn't mind if I spoke to her alone, sat down right next to her, and I guided her through the whole process of the individual meditation technique that she had, which step by step helps you to withdraw your mind from its identification with the body, to give it a focus point, and to identify with the light, not with the physical, to identify with your supreme and unending consciousness. And I reminded her of her mantra, sang it for her on the in-breath, the out-breath, just like doing a revision. And the whole time I could see her face, I could see something shining in her. I felt she was, listening and doing it. And I know that, there's a lot of proof that patients in the terminal phase, even if they appear to be, if they're too sedated to communicate, the last thing that leaves is the sense of hearing. And they're right there with you. And they're hearing everything in the room. And so, it was just, this was my last gift to her, or really not even my gift. I felt it was the gift of, God, that just his love kind of for her, embracing her in this special moment and helping her to remember the way back home. I reminded her, I'm like, you've been preparing for this moment your whole life. You know what you've got to do. Yeah, there's a book called The Tibetan Book of the Dead. I read it long time ago. I don't remember the details, but what I remember was that it's a very elaborate description of the kind of weird states that your mind can go into as it's separating from this physical life. Some of them pleasant, they're called bardo states, and some of them scary, demonic, But no matter whether they're pleasant or unpleasant or scary, you have one task to do in each of the bardo states. It's to wake up. It's to remember the presence of the clear light, they call it, shunya, to identify your mind beyond all of these illusory things, and to remember the reality, the spiritual reality. And that's exactly, we don't make it so complicated. It's not a long book. It is a very simple practice, but practicing every day, you don't have to wait till you're physically gone to do this. This is something you can enjoy the bliss of that union, to some degree, some sensation of that immersion. And it just takes away the fear of leaving the body, because you know that you're going to, you know that if you're able to direct your mind into that state, you're going to be embraced. You're going to merge. You're going to be liberated. This is the idea of liberation in the yogic thought, mukti. Mukti, there's mukti and moksha. Mukti is liberation. You might come back again after this experience, but it means that at that moment, your mind, when it's free of bondages, goes into that unlimited state. It's a samadhi, a union, a unification. Moksha is when it's permanent. You're not going to come back. You've become that supreme consciousness. There's no separation. It's beyond. So both are possible through yogic practice. But for sure, mukti is a pretty sure guarantee. If you're practicing the meditation properly, every day, you are training your vibration, you're training your mind. And in that moment, it's going to come automatically, in that moment, it's just whatever your mind is full of, that's where it's going to go. And so if it's full of the vibration of Bhavanam Kevalam, the vibration of mantra, the vibration of divinity, your mind's going to merge into that. And this just makes, death a lot less scary. Of course, if I'm in a dangerous situation, there's that sense that instinct of self-preservation is there. But fundamentally, I see it as, a great opportunity, as a great portal, as a blissful reunion. And that gives a lot of strength, I think. So I'd love to hear your questions and thoughts and comments. Please tell me what you think in the comments below. And thank you. Namaskar.